in the 1984 film The Bostonians speaks to a time of fertile thought in the late 1800s, the women's suffragette movement, spiritualism, and progressive thought. Spiritualism, Christian Science, and Unitarianism all trace their roots to this period of time. People were open minded. At the same time, there were social conventions to frame reality. There was ambiguity and fluidity of thought to frame everything else. In spiritual terms, there were practices, systems, and techniques to serve as placeholders until someone popped, which meant they experienced a spiritual awakening or cathartic shift. In our time, we've had plenty of spiritual gurus who've shared techniques and practices to frame our journey, but experiencing salvation is still something that just has to happen to you. Many of us are trying to solve all the problems of the world. Deepak Chopra suggests that spiritual people have their challenges because this is how we interface with matter and experience reality. That's the opportunity that this life presents to us. We're not here so much to solve or obtain or answer every question. We're just here to experience it. When we experience salvation, nothing is ever quite the same ever again. Welcome. Welcome to Illinois Bridging Awareness. I'm Stanley Smith at Illinois Bridging Awareness. We're just skimming along here on the surface of reality in Illinois. We have our spiritual selves bouncing along on the physical reality of matter, and it's often a bumpy ride. In the past couple months, we've been taking a look at methods and techniques from past guides to help us navigate our way. We've been looking at Eckhart Tolle, Jose Silva, and Joseph Campbell and Stephen Covey. And in many ways, especially when you're looking at Stephen Covey, you can see it as a values proposition of every moral and social virtue. These have been important placeholders in the past to frame reality that serves and has served most people in the most places at the most times. Stephen Covey pointed to the 1920s as a shift, though, from every civic and public virtue to the cult of individual characteristics. Individualism sounds pretty good, but often it's an opportunity to harden the interface between our spiritual selves and matter to try to make it and turn it into a material outcome or gain. At the same time, the proposition value of every moral and social virtue seems to be being eroded in our time, and it doesn't seem to be being replaced with anything better. It just seems to be providing a space, an opportunity for more monetization and leveraging of the human condition for material gain. Just when we're about to have a collective cathartic shift in humanity, something always swoops in and subverts the plan. The Jewish people had the golden calf. Christ had the betrayal. The French Revolution had Napoleon. And the Civil War had Reconstruction. In our time, we have the big lie. It's not a new story. Most people in the world are kind and loving people, but every time we get around to our mountaintop moment and are just about to experience a cathartic change, someone rushes in and makes off with all the goods. Each week, Jim Downs shares his positive qualities word pairings. We can all see what is positive and what is good, but then we look out in the world and wonder, well, where is it? Recently at the Christian Science Church, I was told that they believe that sin can be healed and that we all experience salvation in this lifetime. I was startled when I heard that. I've been a church person my entire life, and for some reason, I never quite heard this before, or I never quite heard it in that way. Many of us bristle at terms like saved, born again, or evangelical because we equate that with judgmental and hypocritical. I bristle when I hear it because I hear it as a work. When I was asked about my prejudice against being saved, I said it was I just thought it was tacky or lower middle class, like wearing white after Labor Day. It's a natural inclination to turn things into a work or a to-do list or an accomplishment or goal. Church is really no different. I've heard the message that if you're a good person and do good stuff, maybe when and if you get to heaven, you'll be saved. I don't think I'm alone in having heard it this way for most of my life. For whatever reason, in this moment at the Christian Science Church, I heard it all of a sudden in this other way. Experiencing salvation in this lifetime was all of a sudden something new and sounded really, really right to me. This week, we'll be listening to the top 10 signs that you might be having a spiritual awakening by Deepak Chopra. It's hard not to listen to his list as a to-do list to accomplish awakening, but Mr. Chopra uses the example of real-life people like Russell Brand, Oprah Winfrey, and Mother Teresa as examples of people experiencing a spiritual life butting up against the physical realm in a way. And in the process, we can look beyond the messiness and see it as part of the process. And part of that process is revealing God's glory in our lives and in the life of the world. Whether the FBI is knocking at your door, or you've been diagnosed with cancer, or have bills you can't pay, we're not here to avoid problems, challenges, or conflicts. We're here to see them as opportunities. Yes, I do believe wearing white after Labor Day is tacky, but I'm seeing it as possibly an opportunity. Perhaps we can all share how we're seeing things in a new way or as opportunities in our own lives and signs of our own salvation. On the call, we've had people share that they've had near-death experiences, that some of us are adopted, and that many of us have seen people entering their lives and exiting their lives at this time. Also, people reaching out for healing, and some of us being threatened and challenged like never before. These are all signs that we're in a particular time and place in our lives and in the life of the world. These could also be signs that we're all experiencing an awakening right now. Some have asked me to work on a formula for where we are on our journey together and where I see that we are. And where I see that we are is that we all have an ask, and we need to figure out what our ask is and then ask our ask. And then we all need to take a look at what we have to offer, and then we need to offer that. Then we need to make space for healing and salvation. God wants to have a relationship with a part of himself that's in you. You don't really need to do anything. You just need to let him catch up to you or slow down and let him get ahead of you. We're all waiting for something outside of us to come in and save the world. So go ahead and let him. It's an interior work, the work on our soul. And when we experience our soul bumping up against the material world in all of its messiness as a work of God, then we'll see the change in the world that we're all longing for. If you'd like to join us at Illinois Bridging Awareness, the Saturday call is every Saturday at 9 a.m. Central Time on Zoom. I will include my email in the description of this video. I'll be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.